today we've got a delivery to deal with on the 6-wheel drive Ambo. Today we're going to have to do radius arm bushes, which I have a big box full of stuff, maybe the stabilizer bar as well, and potentially wheel bearings. We're not sure if that's the case. I took this in to get a wheel alignment. They told me the radius arm bushes were shagged, which I suspected already. It does pull heavily to the left. We've got a lot of feathering going on here. The shock bushes were gone and I fixed those as best I can for the time being. But they also told me that one of my wheels was a bit clunky, like moving around. So that would indicate possible wheel bearings. So, where to start? I've been putting this off for a week. That, and I haven't had any money to deal with parts. So we might jack a wheel up and give it a wriggle and start from there. But first, before I do any of that, I need to take the load off the back. Alright. Well, that didn't land the way I hoped. Alright, I've got to stop putting this off. Right, first order of duty, I have to take off the tie rod, which I only just replaced all these not long ago, which interests me as to why this nut is so rusty all of a sudden. Alright, I'm going to try something stupid here. I've got some lock wire. I'm going to thread it through the end of the split pin. At least that's easy. So hopefully this one doesn't give me as much trouble as the other one. There we go. That one's good. We'll find our ball joint separator in a minute. Shouldn't take too much, these were only recently replaced. There we go. Driver's side time. This one's got a bit of force on it. Now we're going to take the radius arm off. Really important thing, if you're doing this yourself, do them one at a time. Make sure the handbrake's on and chock your wheels. I've got the rear ones chocked, because if this moves, your axle can get out of alignment and it's going to be a royal pain to get it all back in line. Alright, this is our rear one, and we've got our left hand fuel tank here that is probably slightly in the way. Let's see what size sockets I've got that'll fit this. Bet you that one's too big. Oh, that one almost does it. What size is that? That's a 32mm. Wow, this is going to be fun. I don't want to put a rattle gun on that with that much play. Let me look. Alright, a big shifter time. I bet you I won't have enough swing room now. Let's try these guys. Yep, come in a little bit. Getting these guys loosen it. I wonder. Alright, this might be a recipe for buggering up the nut. We're going to put the 32mm socket on here. This is shortly before I go and spend $100 on a socket or a spanner to fit this. The problem I have is that because the bushes on there are knackered, this whole thing can twist. Well, the bushes are damping the impact from the impact driver as well, and there's not enough twist for me to get it in here, so I'm going to have to buy a proper thing for it. Okay, so what got it in the end was the Knipex parallel jaw multi-grips and some WD-40. Right, now my socket's stuck. I gotta say, these things have been the best birthday present anybody could ever buy me. They've done things that just nothing else will do. There's one. Into the bucket it goes. Big flat washer. Let's have a look at this bush. That one's not too bad, although looking at the other ones it could be a lot better. Alright, so lesson learned here before I start. Soak these guys up. Another one up here somewhere. Alright, Nipex to the rescue again. Alright, the bolt is out. Put them together. Now we're going to tackle the other one. Those two can go together. Alright, there's some breather tubes and stuff that are zip tied onto the radius arm here, so these guys can come off. Now, if you're not a regular viewer, you might not know that I have multiple sclerosis. And this job, just getting one arm off, is getting close to the limit of what I can do in a day. So the other one's going to be done probably in a different video. Alright, it's just going to drop out nicely. Ah, beautiful. I love when they come out that easy. Alright, that's good news. Alright, so let's radius arm out, and yeah, definitely knackered bushes, and this is not looking great, although a lot of that is just old grease. That'll come off. I'll give that a clean up. Then we're going to go up the street. We're going to get some bits like a flap wheel and a couple other things, and go around to my senior technician's place, take her around to him. He's got a 30-ton press. We might be able to push these out, or I might have to modify a chisel to get these out. We'll see. Alright, I had a bit of stuff from Super Cheap Auto show up, including this, which is the closest thing to a sandpaper wheel I could find. Hopefully that'll scrub the rust out. I've got some air chisels, which hopefully I can use with a hammer. Pin punches, tweezers unrelated to that. Some red rubber grease, WD and brake parts cleaner. Alright, we've got the big guns on this one. Now, for the curious among you, this is an old hydraulic press my father owns. Supposedly good up to 50 tons, although I've only ever seen it up to about 30, which I think is a more reasonable rating for it. In fact, that's exactly what's on the placard here. And this green metallic finish paint is something my father uses on everything. But anyway, we're going to use this guy to press the rubber out first. And I found from practice, lubrication definitely helps. Now we do the other one. And this is why the lubrication is handy. Alright, now we go over to the air tools. Alright, out of experimentation, the tool I found that was best for this was this one. I did try using a method I'd seen somebody else demonstrate, which was to basically cut the whole sleeve, and I need to tighten this vise up, was to cut the whole sleeve by hammering this down there, but I found that damaged the inner surface. I found if I get under this lip and I just fold the top in, that's probably sufficient. That'll probably be enough, I reckon. Works. That's good. felt like it moved.
Yeah.
That was, what, about 4 tons.
Yeah.
This much smoother than the last one. Yeah. 4.5, no, about 5 tons.
Because that was a lot.
Oh. Up to about 5 tons. Okay, so it turns out pushed them through a little bit too far and push them back about halfway. That looks about central. This is an action that I'm sure people are familiar with. Now, tap it on first, and we want grease on that. This is red rubber grease for greasing red rubbers. Alright, that one's on. Alright, now. Let's see if I can do this without dropping it and getting choked by my shirt. That's a problem. Okay, so there's a problem I ran into. This is the old bush, this is the new bush, and the diameter has changed somewhat as well. So this has been squashed down and compressed, and that additional distance is what's stopping me getting it back on the axle. It's going to be a little interesting. I may have to do this end up and squash them up and then put it on, I don't know. So I've had a bit of a think. What I'm going to do is try and get things loosely in position, and I'm going to use a jack to push this up. Alright, will we fit in here? I hope these bushes are the right ones. If they don't fit, we're kind of screwed. And that's kind of looking like that might be the case. You have to be fucking kidding me. Alright, now this has got a doubler welded on that side, this has got a doubler welded on this side. If that was the other way around, these bushes would fit. But as it stands, there's no way these bushes are going in there. Which means they're too wide, which means I now have a vehicle off the road that I can't drive until I find the right width bushes. These are too big. Well, that's the end of that whole muck around. I wish people could get their fucking part numbers right.
6.5 hours later.
Alright, so I got jack of all this, I buggered off, had something to eat. Now I'm invading my mate's shed, and I've come up with an idea on how to deal with these things without having to push them off again. Get a sawzall here, or whatever you want to call it, a reciprocating saw, and we're going to knock these off flush. We've done a measurement, we need about 47.5 mil is the gap we've got. These are about 44 mil, and they're about 53. So if we knock off these little bits here flush, it should fit. The other two that I haven't pressed in yet, we might be able to whack on the lathe and clean up.
Oh, fuck. That's ripping right through that thing.
Deviating a bit, but I think we'll be right.
A little deeper, a little shallow. Because if it's shallower, it's we can just. There's not much in it.
tipping outwards a bit, I'm scalloping
If
out.
you see the bar, if you push that hardest you can against it, it'll give you a little more control because it'll tend less to hover, wander.
Yeah,
Now we can just clean it up.
We'll get a deburring tool into it. I was just trying to let it drop its way through rather than force it through.
The only part was just a little bit of a skim there.
Yeah,
if you got a filthy finger, you didn't hit nothing. Pop this in the back, pop it into the jaws with, how deep did you say 5 million take off?
Yeah, need to go about
So more or
5
less
mil.
that thing, that radius.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. So let's use the depth gauge on this. 2, 3, 4. So if I go about 5, actually if I go about 5 mil on that, and then lock that,
Match right.
and then we can match that. You need to, that's about perfect.
All right.
I reckon we'll do that. Right, what do we got?
Yeah, that should be
So that's
perfect.
Well, that's the original. So yeah, that's a bit short. That one still needs to be done. These are pretty well on the dot, I reckon. There.
Tell you what, if ever you want to get one of these,
They're about right. Alright, so those two are the closest to the original, which is good. So they can go in that box. These two I can put in the bucket, along with the original. And that way I won't get them confused. And we've still got stabilizer bar bushes, but we'll do them another day.
The next morning.
I haven't had a lot of sleep and I was up late last night. Let's go find our bits. Can we get you in there? Alright, I think I've got things seated. Hopefully this should align itself nicely. That feels more like what it should do. I'm going to try and change the geometry a bit. I'm going to jack up the axle slightly and see if that moves things in the direction I want. Alright, I had a bit of a thought. Might be able to do this. Except my shoulder won't fit under. Alright, with a lot of mucking around, I got it I got it started. What's that, 24? Beautiful. Apex. Alright, so I had a mate show up to heckle me, and that distraction was just enough that I needed to figure out how to fix the problem. I ended up taking the pry bar and pushing that side of the thing down. Really simple solution.
It was my bad influence on the coaching with Freddo Frogs.
It's all good. I did put the bolt in backwards, but because I've got no tie rod, I can swing the wheel out of the way. We'll do this up and we'll start pulling the other one off. Alright, so I think we're going to leave this video here, and I'm going to do the second radius arm in another video. This one's already very long in the tooth, and I'm very tired. So the weather has warmed up just enough that it's making life difficult for me with my multiple sclerosis. So yeah, we'll do the other one in another day. Hope this was interesting. Maybe you got a laugh out of me swearing at things. Maybe you saw me make a bunch of mistakes. Maybe you want to rant about it in the comments and give me a thumbs up. I don't know, but we'll see what happens. In any case, onwards to another video. Hope you've had fun.